show. Away the Irish show. Away the Irish show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison. I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing. Doing a damn thing. The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, everybody. We're into another week, folks. We're in the final countdown. We're in the final weeks. There's light at the end of the football tunnel, and it can't get here soon enough. I feel like everybody's losing their minds with all of the realignment and all of this stuff. We just need regular football. Welcome in, everybody. It's good to see you here. I'm going to tell you what else is good to see. I'm going to knock on wood on my desk. It's good to see the comments. The first thing I'm going to say is I completely 100% apologize for what happened Saturday night. I had a full bank of phone calls, like literally 20-something phone calls lined up. I couldn't see anything on the screen, you guys. I don't know what happened. It wasn't a YouTube issue. It was a streaming program issue that connects to YouTube. And all of a sudden, the viewer count froze. And after a certain timestamp, no more chats were appearing to me. Then I froze on my own screen. I could take calls, but I couldn't see nothing. I really apologize. The last thing I want to do is put a big Saturday show together and then leave you guys hanging. Some of you guys were donating, and I wasn't even able to see the donations from my end. It was just a mess. And not feeling well on top of it, I made the decision to end the show. We still went an hour and 45 minutes, but I owe you guys an apology. So far, it seems like everything is working, and that was a one-off situation. But that's first and foremost. It's bad form. I apologize. There's no way for me to call timeout on a live stream and start messing with stuff. I didn't have many choices. So I want you guys to know, Adam, don't do that to me. Adam, he said the chats got knocked out just like Tim Anderson. And that's something else that happened. So you guys know I'm a White Sox guy. Right when we went live Saturday, I was setting up for the show. People were texting me and putting in the chat before it decided not to work. They were all putting in there, did you see your shortstop got laid out in the middle of the field? And I'm like, no, I didn't. It couldn't have been that bad. After the stream, I pulled it up. Oh, it was that bad. It was that bad. It's the perfect representation of White Sox baseball, okay? Just perfect, like chef's kiss. Oh my God, was that the perfect representation? Talking, strutting around town like you're tough guys. And when it matters, you got nothing, whether it's on the baseball diamond or putting your dukes up. We got nothing. Garbage organization. Ashamed that I love them. All right, anyways, we're going to get off that back into football. So I appreciate your patience with that streaming situation. Last thing I was trying to do is leave you guys hanging. So I think everything's back to normal. Andrew Gilmore, there were a couple other people that messaged me. They donated. I know Pat did. Add it to the tab, Pat. I owe Pat thousands of dollars over the years for golf, for liquor, for alcohol, whatever it is, man. Pat's been a generous guy with myself and our friend group our whole lives. Add it to that tab. Andrew, I owe you a phone call. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you, guys. Obviously on YouTube, you know where to find me. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Give the videos a thumb up. Notifications on that way you alerted every time there's a new episode. Twitter, search bar Robo's Irish Rat. Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want me. You can locate me to call-in lines. You know what it is by now. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Fighting Irish Wire every damn day. Every day on Fighting Irish Wire, you go there and you write, or I write, and you read all about Notre Dame football. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. We have articles there every day. Every day. Yeah. Pat's Uncle Cash. That's why we keep him around. That's for sure. That's for sure. All right. So let's get into this a little bit. We got a couple phone calls. We're going to do some chats because there's some people that have some very interesting things. I got a couple bullet points I want to go over with this year of where I'm at. I guess I'll start with this. I think camp is reaching a tipping point. I think the excitement with camp is reaching like that crescendo level. And here's what I mean by that. What I mean by that is when camp starts, you have all that initial rush of we're glad football is back. We just want to see our guys running around. Like, let's get to the next step before the game start. And you have all that initial energy. And I feel like there's a lot to be learned early in camp, looking at bodies, looking at who's healthy, looking at the early depth chart, first string, second string, where guys are starting from. That's informative to me. Hearing the guys that have been watching football for a long time, 40 years, I value when they come in and say, this guy's body looks way better. These guys look like they're in better shape or they bulked up and it looks like, I value some of that. And you're excited to see people running around, throwing the ball around and all that. Now we're at the point where it's kind of shifted more into a blue and gold mentality where I'm at. And by that, I mean, you're now getting to the point where you're starting to wonder, all right, what's real? What isn't? To what extent is what we're being told real or it isn't? And then you get into a point where it's like the blue and gold, where if the defense does good, does that mean they're really good or the offense is bad? And if the offense does good, does that mean the offense is really good or the defense is bad? Like, I feel like we're starting to hit that middle of camp crescendo where people are like, all right, this is nice seeing us bang our own guys every day. We're, so to speak, but we're ready. We're ready to go see us bang heads with some other people. Like, that's where we need to get this thing going now. And so that's where I'm at. Getting in my head a little too much of like, what exactly are the realities here? And I'm ready to just find out instead of hear about it, talk about it, write about it, worry about it. I'm ready to see it, and I think you guys are too. Maybe you're not feeling that, and you're enjoying the buildup of camp, but I'm already getting to the point where I'm like, I am ready to see. Travis, that's a good one. I was ready, jerk. I was ready to see. I'm ready to see what we got. And the other thing that's messing with my brain is the Navy thing. I'm serious. The Navy thing's messing with me. I understand there's a lot of unique things to worry about when you're playing Navy, but I'm hearing people saying they're going to come out with a passing barrage we won't be ready for. And their defensive line is experienced. They brought all that pressure the second half last year we had no answers for. Get ready for it again. And those middle three interior linemen, it's time. Like, it's one thing when the build-up for the first game's Ohio State. It's different when it's Navy. There's only so much I'm going to analyze. What's the reality here? 35 unanswered against Navy. That is just a failure. Your ship is sunk. Game one, I am not open to that. You got to be ready this year, man. You got all this month, figure out all your personnel, all your packages, how you want to defend all that nuance they throw at you. You got all that time. All right, let's get into the chats, and then we're going to take some calls. I got you guys, 818-618, couple regulars. You're going to be up So far, so good on the chat. Thank God. Matt Miller, good morning. Always Irish faithful. This is interesting because it's on my bullet point to talk about. Matt, you guys are good in this chat. You hit a lot of stuff that I'm going to cover anyways. It tells me that I'm on the right track of feeling out where you guys are, what you want to talk about. And so many times the things on my list you guys hit here. It's beautiful. I love this chat. It's a magical thing when I could see it. Moving towards the 12-team playoff, if there are only 4 super conferences instead of 5 automatic bids, reduce the amount to 4, and then you are going to have 8. That would leave 8 at-large bids. So I heard they're looking at a system where it could be 7, and there's 1 extra spot, not for whatever's going to happen with the Pac-12, but weren't they going to reserve 1 spot for the top G5 conference champion or whatever? And so that would bring it up and then leave 7 at-large bids instead of what would have been 6. This is exactly what I was asking to start Saturday night show is, with all this realignment, you are going to have to address that playoff format. The way they were thinking about doing it simply isn't going to work because you have such unbalanced conferences moving forward. They're not going to be able to do what they were going to do. So if you knock out whatever the Pac-12 is going to blend with whatever junior level conference, whatever they're going to do, if you're not going to recognize that, then I guess they could be up for an at-large bid or something. But if they do that and it leaves 1 more open spot for at-large, then does that help Notre Dame in a year where they maybe need that 1 spot and it's not an elite year, but we want to sneak in the playoff and you have that 1 more at-large bid? This is exactly the stuff I was asking about, that formatting, how they are going to redo that and where Notre Dame falls in it. So to me, if you could get away from one of those automatic bids for a conference and make it at large, I guess that helps Notre Dame's odds overall because it's 1 more spot any given year. But that is a big thing that I want to know how they're going to handle because you have no choice. You're going to have to redo that model, the proposed model for the 12-teamer now. You're going to have to. There's no way around it. No way around it. With this format, if this is how it shakes out, independents could be locked up for a long, long time. Matt, that's kind of where I'm going. If you got fat at apparel money, even though I don't think Under Armour's that good at this, if you have fat money there, you're confident you're going to have a good TV deal, which I am with Bavacqua around, and no smoke with Notre Dame joining the Big Ten and all this realignment news. That all indicates to me clearly Notre Dame knows they either have a deal done or they're going to have one done. And the number is something they're comfortable with, commensurate with the Big Ten. That's what it tells me. And if there was doubt about this, Notre Dame would be irresponsible for not engaging with the Big Ten to some regard because this money has to be in the ballpark to keep Notre Dame competitive long term. Okay, you just can't fall behind by $50 million a year, $100 million year 2, $150 year 3. Notre Dame's not going to survive that way. So I am reading the tea leaves. Looks like Notre Dame's in a good spot to remain independent. And it's like anybody out there nationally, other fan bases that want to give Notre Dame our time and go, why do you want to do independence? Who cares about independence? Is it even a big deal? You're seeing why it's a big deal this last week. This last week is why Notre Dame values independence, because then you take care of your own and you are not beholden to what a couple rogue schools want to do, and it messes your entire university's future up. It's a great reason to value independence, but you got to be able to rock it on your own, and you got to be able to command things on your own. You got to be able to have value to make this work on your own. And luckily, it looks like Notre Dame has those features. Otherwise, none of this would work. It couldn't work. So that's how I see that. But if you end up in a scenario where there's 1 more at-large bid, I think that helps Notre Dame. Anytime you're getting away from an automatic playoff spot, Notre Dame can never get to 1 more open one. I think I like that. So let's do it. Let's do it. Pat, good morning. Morning, John, and always Irish family. Happy Monday, inching closer to game one. Sink that ship, baby. Sink that ship. Mark with glasses. Congratulations on 5 million views. I remember the startup at JKZ ND4 started at the bottom. Now here we are. It's been a long time since 2016 when I started this, folks. And I went back and watched some of the old stuff. Boy, it's rough. When I first started this and had no experience, no feel, no knowledge of how to operate YouTube, I was simply winging it raw. Back then, I literally set a recorder on my desk, hit record, and yelled for like an hour and a half, and then ripped that onto audio like it was very rudimentary. I had no idea what I was doing. I just literally needed a psychological outlet for what was going on in 2016, and all I did was yell. It is amazing how far we've kind of tightened the operation up here over the years. And some of that just happens naturally when you do this long enough. You're going to learn things and tighten it up and learn what works and what don't. But it's been a long, wild journey, and I'm happy to be here with you. I remember the startup. The rants encapsulated the fan base during the BK candy-ass shit show. Now your show navigates the fine line between the current state of affairs of frustration and optimism. Mark, that's a really good synopsis of where I try and operate from right now. And wanting to be optimistic about the new regime and all that. But I still light Notre Dame up when I think they deserve it. Mark, thank you for remembering all those struggles, though. It's a long journey building a YouTube in a tiny niche like this. It's a niche of a niche of a niche. Sports, and then you're in a niche. College football, you're in a smaller niche. Just Notre Dame, you're in even a smaller niche. But this is where my home is, baby. $5 holler from Paul. Appreciate it. I'm changing my chat introduction from John to the Great to Captain John. Let's talk real football, not conference realignment. I got a little something for you. The biggest part of the realignment, I think we talked about its effect on Notre Dame for that playoff. But I do have some specific football Notre Dame stuff I want to throw at you guys and see what you think. C. Jones. There are more expectations on Freeman in year two, and there should be. I think he's up for the challenge. I posted a tweet, I think it was yesterday during the day. And what I said was that I believed there was way more practical pressure on Marcus Freeman entering year two than there was year one. And I know on the surface that might sound a little odd, but if you really think about it, I think it's spot on and it makes perfect sense. Year one, Freeman had all of the excuses of learning on the job, first year guy, and it's at Notre Dame under that microscope. I was saying he was laden with a lot of Kelly's roster last year that was not good enough in any way and was not developed the way I needed it to be in a lot of areas. Look at the wide receiver room that Freeman inherited was garbage, like all of those issues, okay? Then you had the quarterback problem and everything else, okay? There were excuses last year to not, everywhere you turn, there was an excuse to not have a great year, to lose a game or whatever. Now you're year two. You can't use it's year one, I'm learning what I'm doing. That ain't going to fly. Some of it still applies, but not enough that you can use it as a reason for anything bad that happens. That's just, the fans are not open to that learning. I'm learning what I'm doing in year two. That's kind of a year one feature. Okay, so you have that. Here's the big one, though. You got Sam Hartman. And the instant you got Sam Hartman, all of the expectations justifiably went up. And then you can't lean on, we don't have a good experienced guy at the most important position in individual sports and college football. You don't have that to lean on either. So for those reasons, I think even in the midst of a very challenging schedule, there's way more pressure on Freeman this year than last year. That grace period's wearing off quick, as it should, as a guy gets more established and more experienced. But it is a big year, and it is a tough schedule with marquee games and then landmines just planted everywhere else you look in between. This is going to be a supremely interesting college football year. Everything we got going on. Tommy Reese of Buckner, if you're interested in that, seeing how Kelly does year 2 at LSU. We got a lot going on, folks. We got a lot going on. Matt Miller, I actually like Captain John. Dude is a walking meme built for social media. I don't know if that's good or bad, but the way my personality is meme. It's easy to meme. I'll give you that. Mark, happy birthday, Lee Corso, 88. He gave us a lot of good times Saturday mornings back when college game day was watchable. Yeah, there was a while there where game day had it going on before ESPN and Disney changed the way they operate and everything, and it was back about football. There was a lot of good fall mornings with those guys, and it's bordering on elder abuse what ESPN does to Lee now. He may as well be... Let's put it this way. He may as well be in the government, in Congress or something. The way that how lucid he is, but they wheel him out there, he could be in Congress sitting there like a mummy and casting votes, okay? So I feel for the guy, and I just hope they take care of him and treat him right. It's uncomfortable to see him up there sometimes on game day, and he don't even know what's going on. That hurts me to see to that old man who's been a big part of all of our college football lives forever. Andrew Gilmore, I owe you a phone call when you're ready. I understand you chatted and I had to shut it down on Saturday night. Never trying to rip you off, Andrew. Believe that. John and many ND fans use Rutgers as the example of an undeserving team that has ended up in one of these mega conferences. But that's a bad example, especially this year. This offseason, Rutgers and ND needed to replace their OCs. Rutgers managed to hire a very experienced, successful OC away from a good Big Ten team, and they also paid the buyout, no problem. Can't say the same for ND. They cheaped out and hired Parker. Fine, but I cannot let Rutgers making one decent assistant hire cloud my judgment of what Rutgers is and has been overall big picture in the landscape of college football. That's not going to move the needle to me. Is it going to frustrate me that Rutgers was in a position to do something I needed Notre Dame to do and they didn't seem willing to do? They were in the position to. They didn't seem willing to do. But I cannot let that one move Rutgers did change my whole perception on their value. There's still largely nothing in the pantheon of college football. And so that's kind of where I'm at with it. But yeah, it's pretty frustrating though to hear that Rutgers is paying out for some assistants at big old Notre Dame's Golden Dome. Can't pinch together the pennies. Oh man. I don't know. Let's see. Matt Miller. Are you saying if we paid BK and Reese more, they wouldn't have left? If so, what are you smoking this morning? Can I have some? Matt, in some ways, yes. If you offer someone a big long-term deal, you make them sign a buyout. Reese and Kelly may have made a lot of money up front, but I bet it wasn't long-term. I mean, the other question is, am I sure? Are we acting like we would have preferred that? Things leveled out with Kelly at Notre Dame. They were what they were going to we were at the level they were going to stay at because Kelly was never going to change the way he recruited at Notre Dame. So Notre Dame was always going to be locked in at a certain level unless he changed that part of it. And there was no indication that was going to happen, and Kelly didn't want to do it. So it's a little frustrating to even have that talk. Jay Lehman, it's good to see you. Last season, Notre Dame got to 500 total yards of offense twice. Can we double or even triple that this year? You would hope so. I mean, again, I got to say this again. Callers, I got you. Hang in there. I feel strongly Hartman's presence is going to raise the ceiling of what this offense is capable about in a major, major way. At the exact same time, I have no way to measure how much. I have no way to know how many points that's going to translate. Like at the end of the year, we're going to go, okay, we had Hartman here and the team averaged, 10 points more a game. And then look where that puts you in your games, week to week. I don't know the level, but there's no way a guy that is a passing threat like this isn't going to raise the bar of what the entire offense is looking like. I just don't know how to measure it. Adam Dowling, good morning. Andrew, if Freeman succeeds, ND better pay him long term and sign a big buyout, or we risk the same issue as BK and Reese. Additionally, once we get the TV money, we better spend it on coordinators. This is a big question I have, Andrew. Big question. And maybe it's a naive one. Maybe I just don't understand how things work at this financial level. I'm talking about the big money Notre Dame's getting from that apparel deal and what I think they're in line to get from a TV deal and all this. Am I even sure that money goes, enough of it goes back into football operations? I'm not. I am not. I'd feel a lot better about this if I knew a certain, half of that money's going just for football stuff or whatever. I don't know how Notre Dame does that. I don't know how they do it. I get frustrated all the time, and people make fun of me when I say every time I've come into town, I see a new construction crane up, and it's never a building that says football stuff. It's a building for something else. Just once, I want to get off that damn toll road and see a bunch of cranes and a big sign that says football building. Shut up, John. Here it is. So maybe that's some of my Notre Dame insecurity, but I don't trust that enough of this money coming in gets flipped back to football stuff. Instead of a new band building or a new museum or a new science building. Those things are important. Use nerd money for that stuff and use football money for football stuff. Make a dork science degree grad donate a bunch of money to build that building, not my football money. Unbelievable. Mikey Pulls, my security guard. Good morning, John. Took off work today to spend the day with my girlfriend on her birthday. She's excited to meet you and the Always Irish faithful at the tailgate. Mikey, I love you and you're my security guy. But you're taking the day off work to spend it with the girlfriend, but you're here talking to me? Should be making her pancakes in bed or something, or, doing something. I appreciate your loyalty, Mikey, and I'm excited to see you guys too. Matt Miller, you get to 5 million views on YouTube and you just stop reading the chat. You're too big for us now. I get it. You know I'd never do that to you. You guys the chatters make this all happen, man. You guys drive the show. Eric, it's good to see you. Here's a good question. John, what do you think of ND's Navy game uniforms? I kind of like those, actually. Very traditional. And think about it. If you're going to Ireland to play, Saturday night before we got it shut down, I said, I wonder what these are going to look like. And I thought it would be nothing too wild, but with a little hint of Ireland. And that's kind of what we got. The blue trim and then a blue with a little extra gold on there for Ireland. Nothing over the top. Pretty classic, but with a couple recognizable tweaks. Fine. I have no problem with that. Traditional blue. I have no issue with it at all. The Format Podcast. I'll be joining Bruce this week to talk about football on his show. Down in Jacksonville, stuck in mostly SEC territory, a little bit ACC too. Morning, team. Hope everybody's well. I've been listening to a lot of ND content. It's always that people in the know are higher on the Irish offense than most of us are. And again, that's Bruce, you're getting into what I was talking about, where you get kind of turned around in your own mind. After a couple weeks of camp, the initial reactions to what everybody looks like in the depth chart, once that calms down, then you get more into this. Yeah, and it's just like you wonder what the reality is and exactly where we're at. I know that's where I've been. Live chat got shut down Saturday night. Seems kind of fishy. You know I wouldn't do that to you. I've never done that to you guys. Yeah, I would never do it. Andrew, Flores and Greathouse seem to get the most press from the beat writers. Don't hesitate to play them. If Colsey and Thomas don't get open, sit them. I have a lot more confidence in Thomas to get open. He has more experience and a bigger body, and he's pretty good at maneuvering it. I'm not saying he's a burner. That's not his game, but he's pretty good positioning his body. Colsey's in some danger, I believe. And from reading the tea leaves and what the beat guys are saying, Colsey might be in a little bit of danger. If one or more of these young guys, Greathouse and Flores, is just better than Colsey, getting open more than Colsey, blocking better than it, whatever it is, you got to play him. You got to play him. I wanted Deion Colsey to have every chance to be a big part of this offense and to emerge and all that. The reality is this is a competitive sport for a reason. We don't have time for you to get with the program. We don't have time for you to get with the program. So you're either going to emerge and be better or you're going to get passed up by the young guys. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. And that's the nature of competition. And that's exactly what we all want to see from the program. And so it's really interesting. Domer guy, what's going on? Here's some more sarcasm, I think, from Crying Belly. The roster's shaky. It'll take at least 5 years before we can expect double-digit wins out of Freeman. I believe this is Crying Belly taking shots at me. That's how far this relationship has gone. Then now I have to decode the troll comments and then figure out what he's referencing that I said and how he's connecting it all. So let's do that exercise. He's making fun of me just for saying that you have to give Freeman time to get this roster in a better spot before you could really judge him. I mean, I got to be honest, this roster's flipped a lot more than I thought it would in the time that it would. There is so much more of Freeman's DNA all over this program, from the coaching staff down to the players now. It is like, buddy, it is time to go. Like, it is time to go. Yeah, that's a problem, Mark. That's a problem, Mark. Sounds like those Dante Moore checks aren't clearing. This is the issue. Did you guys see those reports? He's already not happy at UCLA with the NIL and maybe looking for a way out. And then the next thing I heard is all the Michigan people wanted to jump on that. That's what I saw on Twitter, is all the Michigan people are like, yep, this is what we thought was going to happen. Come home, buddy. Come back to the Midwest. Come to us. Here's the issue with Dante. I think everybody with any even mediocre level of knowledge about the dynamics there would acknowledge there's a lot going on with other people influencing Dante. I don't believe a lot of this was up to him. I think Dad and those around him had a lot to do with it. They were chasing money, directing him what to do for that. And it's a sad deal. But when you want to go for quick money, you often get quick problems. That's just the way it is. Angela, good to see you. Rudiger here. Mike in Oklahoma. Over the weekend recap of practices. Marcus Freeman channeling his inner John. Oh, you all know I have an episode just on that coming out. I know what you're referencing, Mike, and you need to know. You know how I operate. I'm not letting that go by. I have an episode dedicated exactly to that interaction that you're referencing. You're right on it. Pat, what have I missed? Still in South Carolina, coming back Wednesday. Should be good to go for Saturday. You missed a lot of conference realignment drama, and then a lot of Notre Dame camp figuring out who we are and what we want to be. Look at this from the Ohio podcast. After witnessing Ohio State practice last week, I'm more worried about what the Buckeyes will look like when they come to South Bend. A lot of Ohio State people I interact with on Twitter have this bravado and this arrogance that they're the best no matter what. Nobody can touch them, and it just poo-poo any vulnerabilities or anything, and it's just whatever. The Ohio podcast guys are not like that. They've been very direct with me when I've worked with them or talked to them offline about the actual realities of where they feel Ohio State may be vulnerable or may be strong, and where we're at with Ryan Day and all this stuff. It's interesting to hear you guys say that, but I got to admit, compared to my interaction with a lot of Ohio State fans, these guys are very honest and direct about strengths and weaknesses of the team and all that. So that's very interesting. Nick Dean, it's good to be heard and seen. Yeah, look at it. I thought Freeman sounded a lot like John during his Saturday speech. We got an episode coming up for that. Maybe I'll put it out tomorrow. Crying Belly. Pledging to a head coach with no experience and zero evidence to show that he's a capable developer is about as short-sighted as chasing the bag. Whatever you say, man. Whatever you say. Stephen Arado, it's good to see you. Cousin Luke, what's going on today? Bring the heat on a Monday morning, John. Damn it, let's go. It's football time. Fire up. Jeremy, good to see you. Adam, what's up? Adam says, Ohio podcast, you guys have so much talent, I wouldn't be worried. Adam's just trying to get his guard down. Matt Radke, good to see you, bud. Less than 3 weeks. I am salivating so bad to see Sam lead this offense. It is just, I need to see it, man. I've been envisioning it in my mind, what it's going to look like looking at you can look at blue and gold and all that, and it's wild. So I don't know. This is a good one. Mike in Oklahoma. John, I donated $500 and apparently didn't go through Saturday night. Can you reimburse me at the Central Michigan tailgate? Here's the problem, you guys. The YouTube was working, so the chats were coming through, but on my end, I couldn't see them. So I had no way to know who it was and for how much. It ruined the whole damn show. Ruined the whole show, but that is a funny one. Yeah, I owe you $500 cash. I'll hit you up. Taj Murphy, look at this. This is wonderful to see from one of my regular, loyal chatters and followers. John, just got married this past Saturday. The wedding stuff is over now. My wife and I can't wait for the start to the season. Listen, we did that too in August wedding to get it out of the way before football. Like that was just non-negotiable. It had to be done in the middle of the summer before it. What a relief it is to be over that stress of wedding planning and entertaining people and making sure everything's perfect and everybody has a good time. And, you know, all the stuff that goes into worrying about putting that together. It's your main focus because it's like a big, once that's over, that stress goes away and it just opens you up. It opens a void for football stress to come in. It's beautiful. Congratulations. I remember you saying you guys were about to get married. Congratulations, man. Now enjoy some football. Primetime 21. I got to ask this as well. One of the smoothest weekend pleasures in the fall is Notre Dame wins their game on a Saturday during the day, and then you can have a couple cold drinks and watch Pac-12 after dark at about 1:30 in the morning, and you are happy Notre Dame won. You know we're going to move up the rankings, and then you watch whatever garbage Pac-12 game is on at 1 a.m. There is no sweeter, simple joy to me in life than doing that, but only if Notre Dame wins. If Notre Dame loses, it ruins the whole rest of the day, and I have no interest in watching anything. I'm bitter. I'm mad. I hate everybody. I hate everything. And the last thing I want to watch is other people play good football. When we lost, it ruins it all. But I want to know, can we get a game in that late window, even if the Pac-12 dissolves into the Pacific Ocean? Or what? I want to know. I want to know. All right. We're getting caught up here. Let's zoom down a little bit. Can't get to all of them. That's the other thing, man. I used to be good at hitting all these chats. We're getting big enough that I'm not going to be able to do that anymore. And that's a great, great sign. What does Pat say? Made sure to get married before the football season, obviously. And then here's the deal, man. I've had friends even invite me to be in their weddings on a fall Saturday. It's just not happening. It's not happening. Like, no. Scheduled the father-in-law's wake to be the morning before it, it had to be on a Saturday in the fall, but I made sure it was before the game started. Sorry. I love the guy, but I made sure it was before the game started. If we got to do this, we're doing it early on a Saturday morning because we have things to tend to. Sorry. Even in death, you got to do what you got to do. Give me a break. All right. Callers, I'm going to get to you. I do have one thing I want to put out there first, and I'm only going to take 1 minute and we'll get to the calls. I want to turn things back to small picture Notre Dame. I think Gino Gadoogly, Gadoofaloofly, Googie Doogie, Ukulele, the Googly Emmy Kappa, whatever that guy's name is, Gino Googly Googly. He may be a secret weapon to this coaching staff. I hear that he is fantastic working with these young quarterbacks and that he's relentlessly recruiting Deuce Knight. And I hear all about it all the time, what a relentless recruiter he is, targeting that young athletic guy in the 25 class to be able to stack a 23 guy we like, a 24 guy we like, and a 25 guy we like. Okay. And I see these tapes of him all over these quarterbacks, just all up on them, on what they're doing and how they're doing and this and that. And I want to do all this. I don't want to be mean to Tommy Rees, but I feel like it's a lot to ask the offensive coordinator to also be the quarterback specialist. And maybe that doesn't apply everywhere, but it does at Notre Dame. And we have just had such a bad track record lately. Jesus, look at this. This might be the funniest thing I have ever seen. I just can't. I can't handle it. I am picturing all the history of Cousin Luke and all of this and all like the trolling he does. And I'm thinking of him as a pre-marriage consultant sitting there with these people, setting them straight, making sure they're on the right track for a healthy marriage. And it's Cousin Luke and all the pathologies that he clearly exists with in my chat. And he's sitting there telling people how to get married and how to treat your wife and your husband. That's it. Cousin Luke, you need to be a marriage counselor, buddy. I think you missed your calling. Unbelievable. Oh, that's amazing. I just love that. And the big sign, I can just picture it. Uncle Luke's marriage counseling. Come on in. That's amazing. That makes me smile. That makes me smile. You guys, I wasn't trying to be a jerk. It was just the reality of Notre Dame had an afternoon game. We had to schedule this funeral and all that. At this time, I was in the death business professionally. So I made it work. I texted that priest and I said, we need you to do this blessing and take care of this. It's got to be early on Saturday because Notre Dame plays. And we got it all done. Everybody was happy. Well, nobody was happy. We were able to bury it, do what we need to do, have some breakfast, and then get back for the game. Everybody, we did everything we needed that day. We did everything that day. Mike got engaged last week. Her dad is a Wolverine fan. You better get that prenup because she's got that Wolverine gene in her. If dad's a Wolverine fan, some of this girl has some of that DNA in her. Some of that girl grew up in a house that was distorted in reality. Mike, you better have a backup. You better have a backup girlfriend or something. I'm telling you, you're asking for trouble. You marry a Michigan girl. I once dated a Michigan girl. I didn't know it for 2 weeks. And then when I found out at the bar, it killed everything. I was no longer interested and I just couldn't do it. And I told her we had to be friends. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Adam, leave me alone. Come on. What did Pat do? Pat donated again. At least I'll read his comment. I didn't take his call the other day, but I read his comment. Are you caddying for me in the match on August 20th? What day of the week is that? Is that a Saturday or Sunday? I want to know, Pat, but I'm planning on doing it. I'm your guy. I'm your guy. Yeah, you know that. But anyways, the Michigan girl, you would have met her in Chicago in grad school, didn't know where she was from, making small talk. She's cute. She's fun. Whatever. And then we go out to this bar one night. I'll never forget it. And college football comes up and somehow it comes out that she's from like the Detroit metropolitan area. Her whole family's Wolverine fans and she loves Michigan. And I could never look at her the same. And I couldn't do it. It wasn't intentional. I could not look at the girl in the same light after knowing her family was Michigan fans. And I tried to overlook it. But there, you know that ick people talk about in dating where you just get the ick for no reason. You just can't look at somebody in that way anymore. That was it. And I told her, we just got to be friends. What did I do wrong? No. I said, you didn't do anything wrong. You're a Michigan person, and this is not going to work. There's just no way I can make that work. And I don't really feel bad about it, tell you the truth. I don't really feel bad about it. But what I wanted to say is, I feel like Geno could be a big key to this. And Geno is going to be very, very important moving forward after this year, too, because you're going to have all those young quarterbacks and you're going to have to figure out which ones you're due to hitch the wagon to. If you're talking about whatever Angeli develops into, and I'm actually hearing some encouraging things about him. I don't know what that ceiling looks like, but I've heard some good things about where he's at in camp. You're going to have him, you're going to have Carr, and you're going to have hopefully Deuce or whatever they do at eye level in 25. All of those guys are not going to stay the whole time at Notre Dame. They're not. Those days are over. The idea for Notre Dame is to have as many swings at elite upside as you could get, hitching your wagon to that guy. So whether that's Minchie or Carr or whatever it is, and then have a pipeline going where you have the best one of them and then let the other cards fall where they may. But I firmly believe it's a different ball game when you have a guy working with these quarterbacks, and that is his only job to worry about every day is look at those quarterbacks. I swear, I think that was a mistake with Reese, letting him be the offense coordinator and the quarterback guy. I wonder if there is not enough time to divide up all of the things you need to do. And I don't really know who could say I'm wrong about that, considering the lack of development we've seen from Notre Dame quarterbacks lately. I go over all the time the statistical fact that Notre Dame quarterbacks under Reese and Kelly, if they started 2 years, year 2, all the numbers went down. There's none of those guys where the completion percentage and the accuracy and everything accelerated upwards in a developmental linear path. That never existed, and that is a huge, huge problem. An absolute huge problem. I am hoping we're going to be moving past that now. I really am. So I think what Geno's doing is a big, big damn deal. Here's the other thing I want to bring up. Then we'll get to the calls, I promise. Here's the other thing I wanted to bring up. Imagine that Adam gives me $10. Thank you, Adam. $10 holler. Adam, by the way, I got to get back with you and go over a couple parking situations for Central. I'm in the final stretch of figuring out, where we're going to do this. And Adam, I got to get with you, man. We got to talk on the phone. Let's talk about this defensive front seven, John. Sounds like nationally they think we're pretty good. Maybe we shouldn't be concerned. Again, Adam, you are hitting on right where I'm at right now with my mind and the way I feel about it. Okay? You're right where I'm at. One of my biggest concerns entering the year, entering camp, I talk about it all the time on every one of these shows is Notre Dame's defensive front going to be able to hold up? And I cannot reiterate enough, when I say hold up, I don't mean you're able to beat Tennessee State, okay, and you're able to beat Central Michigan. That's not what hold up means at Notre Dame. Hold up means hold your own against Ohio State and USC and in Death Valley against Clemson. Okay, we need to be past you holding up against all the other teams. I need to see you do it there. Then I got our beat guys, some of them saying, some of these guys came in with a little more muscle weight than I thought they might. And some of these guys are moving a little quicker than I thought they would. Some of the depth guys are emerging that maybe they could be relied upon more heavily than what we anticipated that we might be able to rely on them for. So I'm starting to see some momentum on that. Additionally, a lot of the young guys are really impressing. Go Byra, I've heard good things about. Anya, I've heard good things about. Brennan Vernon has impressed every single person that's looked at him in camp, and that's a true freshman. And even if that doesn't pay off this season, it's a great sign, big picture. It's a great sign, big picture. So you're in this dynamic now where everybody, it looks like it might be trending up. I don't know, with the defensive line. Believe it when I see it against Ohio State. Are you going to be able to get pressure on Ohio State's new quarterback? Will they be able to run the ball on you to then open up whatever they want to do with those skill guys? I don't know. Riley Mills looks like he's bound to take that big step. Riley Mills showed up bigger than I remembered it being, putting in that offseason work. By the way, let's not forget who is in charge of that offseason work, the guy that's no longer there. It's amazing how quickly we forget that news story that the strength and conditioning guy's no longer at Notre Dame, folks. That's a big time issue. I went over and I'm going to go over it again. Remember those Novembers with Brian Kelly and early in his tenure when we would be okay early in the year? We'd get to November, lose almost every game, get mowed over, ran down, worn out. We were dragging ass all over the place. Remember those Novembers? There were linemen on that team losing 20 to 30 pounds of muscle weight between September and those November games. That is just, it is malpractice. It is malpractice to not have a strength and conditioning and nutrition program in place that allows those guys to maintain that weight. You can't have that. So when people go, oh, what's the big deal? What could go wrong? Strength and conditioning's run of the mill. No, it is not. No, it is not. And you cannot take it for granted. You absolutely cannot. Look at this. We got a $5 holler from Adam again. Adam, I like that boat. I like that boat. Adam was posting pictures, and it looks like him and the wife just christened the new Always Irish speedboat. Why can't we get that thing wrapped with some Always Irish logos, and we'll just bump that thing all over all the Indiana lakes, Adam? All of them. Cedar Lake, all of them. We're going to bump it. We'll wrap that baby. It'll be the Always Irish speedboat. I like the sound of that. $5 holler from Adam, the man. Anya looked just as big as Rocco in that little scuffle they had in practice, which is a pleasant surprise. You know what else is a pleasant surprise? A scuffle in practice. It brings the meathead football out in me, and I love it. I love it. I love it. Thomas Adams. John, I truly enjoy your show. You bring facts and debate to your show. Keep up the good work. Let's go Irish beat Navy. Thomas, I really appreciate that. I truly do. Truly do. They also didn't have depth when Kelly was there, but yeah, that's concerning. I would say that would be concerning. And that's also a Brian Kelly problem, though. That's a big Brian Kelly problem. Oh, man. Air Pro, I gave you a $5 holler and no call out. Wait, when? Today? Oh, my God, I missed it. That's bad. I owe you a refund. I'm sorry I got by that one. $5 holler. What's up, John? Keep doing what you're doing. We're never slowing down now. Like that. I mean, we're never slowing down now. We've come way, way too far to slow down. All right. And this season, those post games, I'm sorry, Air Pro. Man, you guys, this is all down the road. I genuinely need a manager for this stuff when I go live. I am not in the position to be able to pay somebody to do it. I genuinely am going to need a call screener in the season because we're going to have 25 full lines nonstop. I would need that. And somebody to navigate the chat, highlight stuff for me that needs to be up, or the people that donated, making sure those make it up. We're going to need that. Because when we get to 144 a year, and last year when we were doing this, it was half that. We had 70 people in here. Now that it's double, man, it's just a lot for me to keep up with. And I try. I'm not a genius, you guys. My brain is a little rough. So, yeah, Pat says, give me the power. Pat, I just don't want you to have the obligation. I trust Pat completely to gauge what needs to be what. That's not it. It's that I don't want Pat to feel obligated to have to be a lemming and do my work like that. I just feel bad about that. All right, let's get to some calls here. 818. I'm sorry I made you wait.
Man, it's a tiring morning this morning. I'm tired. Dragging ass. How are you?
I'm okay. Look at it this way, Rodney. Maybe a part of the reason you're dragging ass is the big pressure system that has changed, and we went from that really warm weather and it cooled off a little bit. Maybe it's messing with your sinuses a little bit, and that might be a bad thing, but it's also a good thing because it means football's almost here.
No, man, it's funny you said that. Yesterday when I went outside and it cooled off down here in Indianapolis, and I'm like, ooh, I like that. That feels good. What does it remind me of? Oh, yeah, baby. College football Saturday.
Yep. You know what, man? You know what's funny? It's small. The smallest little things put you in the mind frame. Yesterday, like the weather was colder or whatever, and we did some crock pot, like chili or whatever it was in there all day. All I had to do was smell it, and I go, oh my God, it's a football weekend. Like late October, it's cold, and you want some warm chili for the weekend football games. Like it all connects, man. We're ready for football. I need games. America needs games. We need them.
John, there are three dishes that I kind of, and I'm all about crock pots and slow cooking. And there are three dishes that I make, throughout the football season, mainly, one of them is game. I call it not quite white game day chili. So it's kind of an off-white chili, it's more of like a hybrid of white chili and regular chili, and I call it my game day chili. I do this wonderful Carolina pulled pork vinegar-based sandwich.
Wow, that's fancy.
And
Look
then
at
my
this.
grandmother,
Fancy.
And then we get in October, like, some Halloween nut too. My grandma's Hungarian goulash, I call it Halloween goulash.
Oh, I like that.
So,
very ghoulish.
Right?
Yeah, that's
right?
good. I like that. I like what you did there. I like stuff like that. That's a good move.
It's so true, though, man. It's time of the year, man. Just talking about just the smells and senses and atmosphere of college football. That means a lot to me, man. I'm sure it does to a lot of other people out there, too. It's not just the fact that it's reminding you that it's coming. It's just the feeling in itself. It's just, I love that when that air changes, even when it's still warm in summer, when the nighttime comes around, you get that kind of, that coolness in the air, that smell, it's different.
Yeah.
And I love that, man.
And the
I love
thing
the way that feels.
I love the way it feels going into a season as opposed to like in the middle of one, because it's hope central.
Yeah.
It's like all hope. You have the whole season in front of you, all your dreams. Nobody can say that they're over yet. Like even teams that are going to be bad have some hope now. Like there's just something magical when you're people like everybody who's here this morning. There's something magical about it. All right, let's turn this into some more practical football here. Where are you at with all the camp reports? I'm at the point where I'm starting to wonder, are we in our own heads too much? Is our media in their own heads too much? Because it's all Notre Dame, and you're in that world every day. I'm ready to see us bang heads against somebody else, see where we line up. How do you feel about what you've heard and read and seen out of the camp reporting so far?
Well, so going into every year, hope does ring eternal, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And John, there are specific things I hear that I like when I hear, or I don't like when I hear. But it always seems to, when the season begins, you'll see a lot of these storylines become the opposite of what you've read and heard. Oh man, the defense. I'm not saying this is. I'm just giving you just an absolute theoretical example. Wow, the defensive line's getting their ass kicked by the offensive line. That's a reason to be worried. And then season starts and we can't move the football, but the defensive line looks pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many times have I seen that? Where it's like, so I don't know what to think, man. I really don't.
Yeah, I know. And that's why I was saying early in camp, there's a lot I value, such as what is the initial depth chart like that they run it. That's very informative to let you know where the coaches think they're starting from. And then looking at bodies, them going, this guy bulked up, this guy's way and cut down in better shape. All of that I really, really value. Seeing the wide receivers run around and be athletic, I value all that. Now we're at a point, though, where I'm like, I don't know how much more answers I'm going to get, until we get to Navy. So it's just a grind from here on out.
Well, and that's another thing, too, the fact that we're playing Navy. I mean, the guy, I realize we haven't started camp yet, or the game prep yet for Navy, or maybe we're just about to.
Right.
But I realize that all this has been camp. So it's great in general. I will say this. It's great to hear the freshman wide receivers, Flores and Greathouse, are coming on so strong, because that means, they're going to push the guys in front of them.
Yep.
If you heard that Merriweather and Jayden Thomas and Colsey were doing great, but the freshmen not so much, how much would that push those guys to do better? But the fact you're hearing good things about the freshmen, that tells me the guys above them, that's going to push them a little more too. So I would almost rather hear that.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
You know what I'm saying?
The guys that are at practice that have been doing this 40 years have been saying, guys like Flores and Greathouse, they are already way ahead of like where Colsey was last year, and maybe even this year, to be honest. Colsey's a guy that might lose his spot to one of these young guys. And that's what it's all about, is that competition level that raises the bar. And that's how you really get better as a team fast, is where year one guys mess up the depth chart the first year they're there. That is how you get better really quick, is by having those guys that can play right away. It isn't going to be perfect. Those guys are going to make mistakes. They're going to miss some blocks, do freshman stuff. But, man, the way they run around and looking at the clips, those guys can make plays for us this year. Let them do it. Let them do it.
Well, and we're also to the point, John, where the guy that's the least ranked of the wide receivers is Jayden Thomas, who is the most productive. So you got every guy back there was, a top 150, at least 150, 250 recruit, and at least in somebody's eyes, a top 100 recruit. You got that with Greathouse and Flores and Tyree. Now, keep in mind, you're putting a running back there who was a running back, but highly touted as a running back to a receiver position, but definitely has the speed for it.
Yeah.
That's another one. The stuff I've heard about Tyree is very, very,
but all
very
you got to do, Rodney, all you got to do is visually look at the footage coming out of camp. And you could see right away that old wide receiver thing is a totally different ball game. Right away, it's obvious. You have different level
of
just
so much more talent there. There's so much more talent.
There's more talent. Yeah. There's more explosiveness. There's more athleticism. There's more competition. There's more heated battles in practice. Right. That is all the tide that raises all of your program ships. I love seeing that. And here's the other thing, man. You're playing Navy, and they present certain challenges. There's no doubt about that. However, physically, Navy is a great game for those young wide receivers to get off to a good start and build some confidence, because they should have some advantages there physically over Navy's defense on the outside. I think that's a great game one to give those guys some confidence and let them catch some damn balls.
Yeah, man, and I come back to Tyree absolutely, and and obviously the first time I get to see Tyree at the slot, I'm real excited about that, because I really believe that's his breakout year, man. And I'm telling you, the person that not a lot of people's talking about in the chat room, or at least I haven't read the chats, but who have been hearing great things from the coaches, which makes me really encouraged, is Steve Angeli. I'm hearing really, really good things about Steve Angeli. I always had a good feeling about him. I'm like, this is the guy I think is going to be a hell of a backup. I think he's going to be a hell of a backup. He may have to come in a couple times this year and relieve us, but there's something about him, man. He seems to have that right kind of confidence that, going into next year, if he really develops, and if Mickey really develops, and knowing Carr's coming in, maybe we don't go out and get that, graduate quarterback, next year. At some point you do got to start building it within the system. So that's just really good sign. I'm really glad to hear that. I'm encouraged on what I'm hearing about the front seven, because I'm pretty solid on the back four. I really think the back four is going to be one of our strengths this year. Yeah, because those corners are going to be lockdown corners.
You know what I think you need, man? You know what I really think you need on both sides of the ball with this wide receiver group and the defense is, I say this all the time, there are certain guys that we're depending on that have a track record that what you're going to get out of. Guys like Morrison on the back end, for example, like whatever. The linebackers people have issues with, but there's like a baseline of what you're going to get out of that main group and whatever. You need the other guys to step up and be pleasant surprises to get this to the next level. So what that means is a guy like Anye balling out this year, like Nana's non-stoppable, get stuff like that. Botello comes off the edge and he's a wizard at getting after the quarterback. Like all of those things we need to happen to reach our goals, but I can't bank on because I haven't seen them yet. How many of those guys could come through on the plus side? That could determine the difference between 9-3 and 11-1.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just distracted by Chief Brody. And I want to tell you, man, that might be the way you generally think about goulash, but I'm going to tell you, if you had mine, I'd have you smiling, you son of a...
All right.
I'll leave it at that.
That's good.
And you'll know that...
Oh, that's funny.
So yeah, man, my goulash is great. Oh, I'm sorry, John. I was reading that. And I was thinking.
Oh, that's okay. 618. I got you
yeah,
next.
Man, no, the 9-3 stuff. Listen, I was about to say it's got me thinking more and more. I'm hearing, the more I'm thinking. Okay, am I just being too much of a? Am I being too realistic? Like, am I being too much like? Well, something bad's bound to happen. There's no way, we're not going to lose. We're going to be 9-3. Just get used to it. That way we can maybe be 10-3 at the end with the bull win. Just be happy. There's enough good things going on. Like, is it starting to creep me back into that 11-1 thought that maybe we could actually be 11-1, 10-2 floor? Man, I hope so.
Yeah.
I really, really hope so.
I can see.
I hope 10-2's our floor, man. I really do.
I can see a totally realistic scenario where Notre Dame goes 11-1 and is in the position for the playoff, and they lose one close game against one of the marquee three, knock off the other two, win the rest of the games they should. I could see 11-1 being a totally realistic outcome. At the same time, if a couple things go sideways on us, 9-3 is perfectly realistic to me as well, and everybody's going to hate it, and so am I, and we're all going to be miserable. But I could see both paths very easily if just a couple things break for us or against us, developmental-wise, injury-wise, a break in a game, a little luck, good luck or bad luck. I could see 9-3 and I could see 11-1.
Yeah, that's why 10-2 is probably realistic because I think they might pull out two of these three big ones this year, man. I think that could happen. But if they don't, that's probably where 9-3 is coming from because I do think. Again, I keep saying it. There's a bad loss to a team we shouldn't lose to coming.
Oh, that hurts.
I really believe, and that's why
that hurts so much, man. But on a schedule that features three marquee brand name games, that hurts.
Pretty inevitable, John. I don't want to be so.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just can't believe Freeman's got that. I just think when you're the kind of coach, especially with the type of schedule in between. I don't mean football schedule. I mean class schedule Notre Dame has. It's too easy to have off weeks against bad teams.
I know, and I hate it. I know, and I hate it. But you can't afford any this year. You can't afford that this year. You have too many big marquee games that you don't have any of that margin for error you had last year. Or like Kelly's last year where Cincinnati at home was the toughest game and he couldn't handle it. Too tough for him. But man, you don't have that leeway. Notre Dame's got to be on point every one of these games. The marquee three and all the landmines in between.
Yeah, I know. And that's why I just think 10-2 is probably where we should, in my opinion, where things should go. If we're 11-1, I'm ecstatic. Except unless, of course, that one loss comes at the very end of the year, something like that. I guess that'd be a bummer. But as long as we get into that playoff, that's all I really care about. But I just think 10-2 is probably the realistic, probably realistically where we land. And that would give us a chance to keep improving on what Freeman's doing and get our first, near 6 win if it turns out that way.
Yeah. So
really, 10-2 or above, I think we're all pretty happy. It's just if you drop below that, we're going to feel discouraged. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
9-3, So, hey, John, real quick, I kind of missed the very beginning of the show because I was out making coffee while I had it on the background. What is the new playoff thing they're proposing that you guys were talking about? Real quick, give me a quick rundown.
I believe it was going to be the 5 Power 5 conference winners get an automatic bid, one more automatic bid for the best group of 5 teams. So that's 6. And then you would have 6 at-larges. But if that Pac-12 is going to fall apart or have to blend with a lesser conference, they cannot get one of those spots, in my opinion. So if they redo that, there theoretically could be one more at-large spot available if they're not going to automatically fill a slot that used to be the Big Pac-12 spot. That's what's being talked about.
Okay, that makes sense. So in other words, instead of what was it before? Was it 5 automatic?
I think it was 6.
Champions?
I think it was 6. It was the Power 5, and then the best of the group of 5. So that's 6. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, but that sounds like a much better thing to me. It's like, if you're that good and you deserve to be, I just think they're overthinking it a whole lot. You got 12 teams in there. If you're good enough in one of those, Cincinnati, for instance, Cincinnati would have been good enough to be in the top 12 anyway. They would have been good enough to be in that anyway. You wouldn't have to worry about them being a conference champion and being left out. And I just feel like now that you have 12 teams, I just think other than just giving someone an automatic bye for, I don't know, John. It just feels like we're just overthinking. But whatever. Top 4 conference champion winners, and then I guess that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just figuring if there's one more at-large spot that isn't automatically a spot Notre Dame can't get every year, that probably benefits us if we ever need that spot. I don't know any other way to look at it from a Notre Dame
John,
perspective.
I had an idea, too. I had a quick idea about the playoffs. I think that would make it a lot more interesting when it comes to all these the buys and Notre Dame, not able to get a bye because they're not a conference champion. What if the first round of the playoffs, nobody got a bye? Okay, and it was on every team, the top 6 teams, it was at their home stadiums, right? And then after the first round, we re-ranked the teams. And then the top, whatever, what do you have then? You have then 16. So the top 2 teams get a bye and the other 4 play it off. And so in other words, you have the first round the same. The next week, the top 2 teams from that have emerged out of those 6 that are left get that bye, and then the other 4 teams play it off, and then play that that team that got that bye in the semifinal round.
Yeah,
I think that'd be very interesting.
It
is. Save the bye 1 week.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I just want to make sure whatever the arrangement is, Notre Dame has reasonable access. I realize Jack agreed to the Notre Dame tax of not being able to have a bye, and the highest we could be ranked is 5th, I think, even if we're number 1 or whatever it is. So we just need to make sure whatever the arrangement is that we have comfortable access that's reasonable compared to everybody else. Anything else, my friend? It was good touching base with you on a Monday.
No, man, that's it. Think that through, John. Think that through, and let's talk about it next time. We'll talk about it in a different conversation between you and I. But think about that, because that would give all those home teams. Let's say you're Alabama, right? And you're number 1 in the country, but you can't play your first week on campus because you got to bye. It would seem like it would benefit college football to have that first round being played at the team's home stadium, and then from there you give the top 2 teams that emerge a bye.
Yeah,
the very next week. Think that through. I'll let you go, John. Have a great rest of your day.
Have a good one, my friend. Thanks for touching base about your goulash. It's a mixed bag on who likes the goulash and not. You know what a part of the problem with goulash is? It's a food that sounds like it wouldn't be any good. I think half the problem with the goulash is that it doesn't sound appealing. What am I going to eat? A goulash? It just sounds like a blob of crap, a goulash. I think that's half the problem with the goulash is that it's in your brain. Goulash. But then again, I'm the wrong guy to talk about food. I could eat off any kid's menu. You wouldn't believe it. You ever wonder why I'm that skinny? I don't require any fancy food at all. Oh, you want a cheeseburger, John? Yeah, what do you want on it? Meat, cheese, and bread. A cheeseburger. I don't need a bunch of rabbit food. I don't need to dump a bunch of stuff on there soggy in my buns. I don't need that. I'm a regular eater, man. Everybody else, they got the problem, not me. A cheeseburger is meat, bread, and cheese. You don't need anything else. Anything else would be uncivilized. You don't need it. Dr. John. Do they serve goulash in the gulag? Oh man. Angela can verify that from my old life. John is always eating like a child. Bro, I will order chicken strips at any restaurant I go to. I mean, not over a steak, but like I'm not opposed to just eating a chicken strips and fries like the kids do. What's wrong with that? That's a full meal. Give me a break. 618. Let's make it great on a Monday. Good morning, man.
Hey, how you doing, John?
Hey,
How you doing, John?
I am getting wound a little tight, man. I all these camp reports, they're getting me to a point where I just need to see us banging heads against somebody else and see how we line up.
Man, we got 3 weeks, John, man, before we blow out Navy, man.
I know. Hey, you have been, of all the regular callers week to week, you are on the plus side, man. I'm not forgetting you got Notre Dame having a great year, and I got to hold you to that. And if it doesn't work, you're going to have to answer for it, bro. But you put yourself out there. You got high expectations.
I have no problem with answering it, man. I think the defense is not going to be a problem this year. We're going to be better on defense. We're going to be probably better at the offensive line, especially from the reports that I'm hearing from Baptiste, man. I'm hearing Baptiste is a man, man, among boys.
Yeah, and you're going to need that, man. You're going to need that. I know there was a lot of when we got him, it was like, well, if he was that good, he'd either be in the NFL or he'd be starting at Ohio State and happy in a role there. But I'm hearing that he's long and he's getting around the edge, and I like what I'm hearing too.
If we can get double teams on him, man, we just need that one defensive lineman, man, that commands double teams, and that'll be better for the rest of the defensive linemen. It'll open up for the rest of the D line.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. I'm encouraged by what I'm hearing about those depth guys on the defensive line, because that is going to be a big part of making this all work this year. But again, I don't know what the reality is, because it's just our beat guys looking at our players, and like, it's just hard to know till you see them in real action in a few weeks.
And I think, man, the Ohio State game, like I said, that never worried me, man. Last year it worried me because it was the first game of the season. You're going against a whole Ohio State team that rarely loses.
But wait. But no Notre Dame fan can say we're playing Ohio State and it doesn't worry me. Like, they're not Central Michigan. You got to be a little concerned and respect their talent, right?
I respect their talent, but I don't think that team is as good as it was last year, man. You know, you coming in with a brand new quarterback. You're going to be coming. It'll be your first very big test, and it'll be on the road in Notre Dame Stadium. If the fans show up and they put the pressure on Ohio State, the fans got to play a part as well. We got to play a part as well.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good point. And we got to be loud. We got to be proud. You got to be there, and you got to not sell your tickets to the other team is the main thing I want to avoid.
Remember last year, we was that team, man. Even though they're going to get a couple games in to jail and see what they got, we was that team going into the first game of the season where they were like, hey, let's put the pressure. They bringing in a new quarterback. Let's put the pressure on Notre Dame.
Yeah.
To not play as well.
Yep.
Their fans did it to us. Now it's our turn to do it to them, man. And man, all you guys who like, oh man, it's 9-3 in panic mode, they're not losing to Clemson. I don't believe that they're losing to Clemson. Clemson is not as good as advertised.
All right. Now let me ask you this. I got to be fair here, and I got to ask you on this. All right. Number one, it's going to be at Death Valley at night. That automatically makes it a tougher environment than what we did with them last year. Number two, I expect their defense to be pretty good this year. And on offense, they're going to have that younger quarterback, Klubnik. They got a new play caller in there, fired the guy last year. I think they're going to look better this year. Don't you agree?
No, John, and not really. I think they lose to us and they lose to Florida State.
Now, where's Florida State at in their schedule? Where does that fall? Do you happen to know
I
when
think it's It's before the Notre Dame game.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. If
season.
it was before or after us, so you could get an indicator of where
it's
they
early in the season.
Yeah.
It's in like the first month or month and a half of the season.
Interesting. So and then you also have to allow for.
I want to say it's in Tallahassee.
You also have to allow
that
for.
Game is in Tallahassee.
Klubnik may get a lot better from the beginning of the year to November when Notre Dame plays them. There's a lot. That's the interesting.
I don't think so, man.
But, man, that's the interesting thing with Clemson is it's the last of the big three. So there's a lot of things that can happen in this season that may change the way we look at the Clemson game going into it. That's impossible to know now.
There's one team on the schedule that I told you that scared me, and that's SC. And that's because they have the Heisman Trophy winner. They have the experienced quarterback. They're not coming in with a quarterback that they're going to have questions, whether he'll be good towards the end of the season, good towards the beginning of the season. We know he's that good. But I think, man, when I went back and I watched the Clemson Bowl game, man, they better be better when they play Notre Dame, because if they don't, man, they are in trouble.
Yeah, but I do
it might
think,
look like last year.
I do think Dabo's been around enough and won enough and knows what it looks like to be elite enough that I don't think he's going to sit there and deal with stuff that he knows is bad. And that's why that OC's out of there and they got somebody new in there. And I just expect that to be a lot tougher game and a more put together unit this year from Clemson.
Who was the guy? The guy that they got is the guy from USC, brother. I think he was offensive coordinator at TCU
what is
year,
it? Garrett. It's
right?
Garrett Riley, I believe is his name. Garrett Riley, I think.
Yeah, that offense didn't impress me either. I mean, that offense they dropped a bump. Look, man, I know it was Georgia. Come on, man. You know. They TCU offense didn't really impress me last year either, man.
Now wait, here's a good question. Now wait, here's a good question for you. The Ohio podcast asked this caller how many times he predicted a great season and a natty while BK was the head coach. My man seems like he's sucking on the sacrificial juice a little too much. So, and that was before I had this show this way and talked to you. Were you that positive going into every year with BK and all that, or is it different now? I'm genuinely asking.
Only 2 years. And no, I wasn't, because I knew how lazy of a recruiter he was. I haven't been this excited about a Notre Dame team since Lou Holtz was the coach.
Yeah, and you got to understand, though, when you put yourself out there like that, there are people in the chat saying you're drinking all the Kool-Aid, and eventually somebody's going to be right. Somebody's going to be right. Somebody's going to be wrong, man. We're going to find the reality soon enough. Somebody's going to be right or wrong here.
John, I'm drinking Kool-Aid, but ain't Ohio State in the same position that we was last year? Ain't they in the same position that we was in last year at quarterback? Quarterback is the most important position in all of sports. It's the most important position. And if he coming on there and telling you that he feels pretty bad about the quarterback position, and you say he's the only honest one, I don't think Ohio State beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame.
Yeah. Hey, man, I really appreciate your optimism and how steadfast you are in it. I just tend to go the other way because my Notre Dame history and the scar tissue indicates to me that usually bad things are going to happen. And I hate to be that way, but until Notre Dame proves me otherwise on an elite level, the default is expecting misery. You expect misery, but you hope it doesn't happen. And I hate being in that position,
and last year,
but it's the reality we've been living in.
And last year, on most boards, I was the one that said that Notre Dame was overrated, that they wasn't the fifth-ranked team in the country. They was only basing it off of what BK did the year before. You got a new coach, a new quarterback. Nobody knew who was playing receiver. no, you know what I'm saying? The running backs, we kind of knew about the running backs, but we didn't know that they were going to be as good as they were last year.
Yeah.
Man, we got one of the better. This year we have a better receiving room. Our running back room is probably top 5 in the country. The quarterback is probably top 5 in the country. The offensive line is probably top 3 in the country. And the DBs is probably top 10 in the country. The linebackers, okay, we'll see where the linebackers go. We'll see where the defensive line go, but we need that one man that can command them double teams, and I think Baptiste will be it.
Yeah, no, hey, man,
And
it all makes sense. It all makes sense. I just got to see it, man. I just got to see it all come to fruition.
The biggest Ohio State fan, my nephew is the biggest Ohio State fan in the world. And, man, I'm going to tell you like this, dude. He even said he feel like Notre Dame is going to beat Ohio State in South Bend. He said, man, I don't see it coming. We don't have the quarterback.
Man, the other, here's what I'm struggling with Ohio State. Certain people I interact with on the Ohio State media front are good to work with, honest about their vulnerabilities and their concerns and whatever. But most of those people on social media, but they run their mouths as if they didn't just lose the Big Ten to Michigan 2 years in a row in embarrassing fashion. That's the problem I have is I don't know why Ohio State people are strutting around like they own the city when you're not even the king of the Big Ten anymore and you got bullied by the team you ate 2 years in a row. That bothers me. Why are they walking around acting like they win everything every year? You don't even win the Big Ten right now. And so they got a Michigan problem. I hope they have a Notre Dame problem too, but they already got a Michigan problem.
We had them beat last year, John.
We did.
We have a better quarterback in that situation when the score is 10-7 and we're marching down the field to go up 17-7.
Yeah.
A better quarterback in that position, we beat Ohio State.
Yeah, it was a tough dynamic. It was 10 points and then 10 points by half and not a damn thing after that. It was very depressing, my friend. Very depressing.
The overthrown ball by Buckner, I guarantee if we had Hartman last year, that would have been a touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm so glad we're not in that position. It was a very, very uncomfortable spot, and all Notre Dame people knew it was going to be a rough game. And the issue with that is, the issue is, once you lose game one, man, all the energy's like sucked out. You're like, especially if you're an independent, you're like, all right, well, now we have no more leeway. We have to go undefeated or all of our big goals are ruined. That's a very rough way to start the year. Hopefully Notre Dame can build themselves a confidence bridge the first 4 weeks and be flying into Ohio State sky high.
Tell the guy from the podcast, Ohio State is going to finish up 9-3 this year.
They're going
to lose to Notre Dame. They're going to lose to Penn State, and they're going to lose to Michigan.
I have seen a lot of predictions for Ohio State to fall in that 10-2, 9-3 range this year, which would be a big step backwards for them. And that probably means if they drop to that record, that means they're losing to Michigan a third year in a row. That is a problem. That is like Marcus Freeman. Even the idea of him starting 0-2 against USC is enough to make my blood boil. You lose 3 in a row to Michigan. It's time.
Yeah. I think this is the third year in a row that they lose to Michigan. Embarrassing. See, man, these last few years I've been watching Ohio State. They're not physical. They're not physical at all. I mean, they wasn't even physical last year against Notre Dame. If you go back and watch the game, it's just that they had better athletes than Notre Dame, and they had the better quarterback than Notre Dame.
Yeah.
That's the reason why they won that game.
Yeah, and they did start. You know what I didn't like? Here's something I didn't like. In both USC and Ohio State, as the game wore on, we started giving up more runs right up the middle on early downs that set up those quarterbacks to do whatever they wanted on the later downs. That is one of the biggest things that rubbed me the wrong way. Against Ohio State in the second half and USC, we started giving up 5-6 yards up the gut on first down runs. and then you allow those quarterbacks to open up the whole playbook on second and third and reasonable, you're dead then. And we did that way too much. That defensive front's got to freaking hold up.
The only thing I'm afraid about is if they fire Day after this season.
Now look at this.
The third season
now look at this. The Ohio podcast.
I'm scared that they coming after Freeman.
As you said that, he writes in, if Ohio State goes 9-3, I promise you Ryan Day will be ran out of town. Wow. That's bold.
And my thing is, do they go after Marcus Freeman after he finish up? Do they go after him because of the way that he recruit? He do recruit relentlessly. If the problem is the reason why we didn't get Justice, a kid like Justice Scott, it wasn't because of Freeman. It was because of the other coaches didn't try to help Freeman. Freeman can't do all the recruiting by himself. Now, what do he do? Do he think like, hey, if I take this Ohio State job, I got better recruiters around me than I had at Notre Dame? Or do he say, I stick it out at Notre Dame and I finish
all right.
what I said?
Here's my thought. I am not sure, short of like going undefeated and winning a playoff game, I am not certain that a place like Ohio State is going to be sold that Marcus Freeman's ready for that job, or that they want to do all that after one rocky year and then one decent year. Like, I think it would have to be like I just don't know if I see them buying into him yet to that level without being further proven down the road. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Also, I thought Ohio State wanted Fickle. And whenever that time comes, they're just going to go buy out Wisconsin to get Fickle. That's what I thought they wanted to do.
But will that happen? You know, if Fickle don't win too many games at Wisconsin this year, but let's just say Freeman do finish up 11-1, and maybe let's just say Freeman wins the playoff game and make it to the championship, which I think would be against Georgia. I don't think nobody's going to beat Georgia this year either. And they're in the same position that we was in last year with the quarterback, but I think they don't really use the quarterback.
It'll be interesting.
You look at it
man.
like, man, do Ohio State look like, man, damn, dog, can we go get Marcus Freeman? Marcus Freeman is an Ohio State guy who's just coaching at Notre Dame. Or did he really buy in and say, hey, I am a Notre Dame guy. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just don't know I don't know what the reality of the heat level from the administration on Day will be. Like, I understand the fans are going to have a lot of questions, but I don't know if the administration is going to be willing to run Ryan Day off or not after this. And then we just have to see, where Notre Dame falls. 651, you're going to come up next. Anything else on your mind, my friend?
Man, that's it, man. Notre Dame fans, do not sell none of your tickets to the Ohio State game. Let them look on the outside. Let them stay at home and look at the game on TV. We beat Ohio State. We beat Clemson. I'm not sure, man. I'm on the verge now than I ever was. I always said we were going to lose the SC, but now I'm on the verge of saying maybe we could beat SC at home. Maybe this is a game that we can get at home. So I'm on that verge of saying that I'm still sticking with 11-1, possibly 12-0. 10-2 would be the max. I don't think we lose 10-2 would be the least. I don't think we lose to nobody that we don't supposed to lose to. If we do lose, it's going to be two of the big three or one of the big three. I don't think we lose. I don't think we lose all three of those games. Yeah. I know for a fact that we beat Ohio State at home because of the fans. The crowd got to be crazy. Just like they was against Clemson last year, you got to be the same way against Ohio State.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And we're going to get the answers to our questions. And I want you to be right, my friend. I like the path you're drawing up for us. Hey, thanks a lot for calling on a Monday morning, man. Have a good start to your week and give me a call later in the week.
All right, my man.
See ya. Take it easy. I love when he calls in, man. It always has energy, and it's always so pro Notre Dame. Sometimes I need that to balance out some of my historical skepticism that's in my DNA now as a Notre Dame guy. 651. Let's have a little fun. Where
Oh,
is that? Is that Minnesota? What's 651?
Oh yeah, that's Minnesota.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you betcha.
I can't. Oh yeah, you betcha. I can't believe I remembered that from my old work days. Some of these area codes I used to work with. What's on your mind, my friend? Thanks for giving us a call on a Monday.
Oh yeah, well, I got the day off. First time caller, long time listener.
Beautiful.
Enjoy
Thank
the
you.
show.
I love having new people call in, man. It's great to have like regulars and people know what they're going to get from them, and then to add new people in the mix. So where are you at with all things in either college football or Notre Dame specifically? You're a first time guy. I don't know where you want to take it. Where do you want to go?
No, right. Well, here, I love a good defense. The 0-2 defense always tickles my pickle.
Man, oh, you're going way back then. Wasn't that where we like kept getting all these pick sixes and like big turnovers and run backs? Yeah.
They won the first 3 or 4 games without an offensive touchdown, I believe.
Yep. And we had special teams plays. We had a bunch of pick sixes. Woo. Yeah.
That reminds me of my 2015 Denver Broncos defense. Ooh, it's just sexy.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask this.
That type of defense. That
So
type of core.
are you confident that you're going to see it? Do you feel like there's enough up front on the defensive line? We're going to be able to hold up against the run, against the good teams we play, get after the quarterback. Do you feel like we're going to be able to hold up all year doing that?
Well, it depends. Are we playing 4-man or 3-man front? Because every time we tried to go 3, they seem to get 6, 7 on us. But, depending on what we want to do up front and what have you, we can maybe do it. But I think we still need a few guys. We lost a few in the recruiting.
Yeah, that hurt.
Whether throughout the years,
Yeah.
We want to go Eder Vanderbilt. That's what I call him because he never showed up.
Yeah.
It's Vanderdose. But anyways, no, it's gonna be a little bit till we get to that point. But I think the secondary is almost getting there.
Yeah, and you know what? You're not alone in that. You're not alone in that. A lot of people have been saying they're actually feeling better about the secondary overall. Really, really good. I got with the corners, obviously, but starting to feel better about the safeties as well. But again, I got to see it to believe it. And when I say see it to believe it, I don't mean that you can beat Central Michigan. I need to see it all be good enough against Ohio State to buy in and believe it. I got to see it to believe it. That's as fair as I could be.
Yep, it all comes down to fundamentals. You get away from that, you lose a lot of stuff.
Now, what do you feel about the offensive side of the ball? I am confident Hartman is going to raise the bar of what's possible. I just don't know how to guess by how much. How big of a difference do you think this guy can make and bring everything along? Those young wide receivers blended in with the good running backs. Use Tyree as a magic weapon. Don't forget about those tight ends. Where do you see this offense being?
Potentially a good Band-Aid, but that's what it is. He's there probably one and done. And then, we're back to the same start we were with Buckner. Where we're going, what we're doing, anyone look good, who we got. Okay, Carr's going to be there, but he's going to be pretty fresh.
Yeah.
He's got to learn a little bit. Who do we got? Okay, it's probably going to be one of these other 2 guys if they stay.
And I think that's a new fun one. I think that's why it's such a big deal for Freeman to have a good year this year, because that quarterback situation goes back to being a little bit uncertain, albeit with bigger upside with what's coming. It's going to be uncertain all over again. You're right. We're doing who's the quarterback in camp going to be? We don't know. No. That's why you got to get some things done this year when you don't have to worry about that.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Hopefully, and that Knight might be interested or whoever else. So we'll see who we can get. Hopefully he can, do something. I miss Everett Golson, that guy that could kind of run a little bit, but he had that cannon.
You know what, though? It's so...
He's a smart guy. He tried.
Man, I'm telling you.
If it wasn't for Tattletales, heck, that irritates me the most is we're number 1 with win percentage. If it wasn't for those 22 wins taken away and that $5,000 fine, for tattling on ourselves and not playing with those players. It was ridiculous.
Man,
That irks me too.
Was it not very frustrating to you? I see Brandon Wimbush and Everett Golson very similarly, where like physically they could run around and be as athletic as hell. But sometimes I feel like they got in their own minds to their own detriment and like couldn't operate what we needed them to do. It like something happened to those guys where like it just wasn't working anymore. Like, but you saw all those athletic gifts. It was just very frustrating with both of those two.
Yeah, Wimbush. Ooh, man, his legs. Holy, was it 230, 260? Well, I can't remember that one game he had. It was bananas. Yeah. I just remember that one play. I got family that are Michigan fans. And when they lost their safety for that helmet to helmet, and we went over the top with what was his name? The little dude. Anyways, they jumped it in the end zone, caught it.
Fink.
Beautiful.
Yeah, Fink.
Yeah.
Nope. It was a beautiful thing, man. All right. So let me ask you this. If I put you on the spot, what would you say Notre Dame's regular season record, if you had to put money on it, what would you land on? 9-3, 10-2, undefeated? What do you think?
That's a tough one. I know I would like 10, but maybe 9.
Man, 9's,
I'm not sure.
9's going to piss a lot of people off.
I don't know. I'm hoping we got over some of these.
9's going to make a lot of people mad.
Stanford game was horrible. I knew the Stanford game was going to be low because we always butt heads, but it's like, really? And then we only go deep once? It's just, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I hope we don't do that against Navy. We should go deep, maybe use some talent, get a good 21-0 lead, something, throw in some easy guys, get them some work, let them see some live bullets. No pun. Sorry, nothing against Navy, nothing. Whatever.
Yeah, we got the military tie-in. It's okay. I've been saying we need to go over to Ireland and sink their ship, so I get your military reference. It's all good.
No, if we can get that 2010, and I miss a guy like Tuitt. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Or 2012. Sorry. But that if we can win like that, a good whopping overseas, kind of what we did the last time, I think they'll be feeling good about themselves and can maybe maintain that.
Yeah.
But again, that's now if they start doing that fullback stuff and we start doing the 3-man front and they're getting their 6-7.
Yeah, that will be very frustrating again. And after all summer, nobody's in the mood to see that. What about Ohio State? We've been talking a lot about them. Do you respect their talent level and expect a heated battle late into the South Bend fall evening? Or do you think this is the year Notre Dame has the advantage and they should be able to pull this off?
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time where things stand, they have kind of maybe slumped off a little bit. So it should be a better, quote unquote, easier matchup. But still, you got to show up at the end of the day. And, we got Miami where we go in there and thinking whatever, then the turnover chains freaking everywhere.
Yep. That all needs to be over. Losing to teams we have more talent that needs to be over. Yeah, man, it's just, I don't know. It's a big year. And the other thing is, it doesn't matter where Notre Dame starts in the rankings or the AP poll. None of that matters. Notre Dame's schedule is going to more than speak for itself. So I am not concerned about any of those rankings or anything. Notre Dame is going to dictate how they are viewed this year. They have marquee brand name, national grade matchups. Everybody wants to watch, and you're going to make it or break it, baby. Sam Hartman, it's your year. It's your year.
Yep. You know what they asked for? $75 million. They made fun of us in the Big Ten, and what's the Pac-12 going to get? 30-something, if that.
Yeah, I think I did see.
Yeah, we still can do something on our own without.
Yep. Hey, now you're learning. I've been saying this last week is why, if you're independent, even though there's some unique challenges to it, if you could do it, this is why somebody would do it, is to protect and insulate yourselves from this whole nightmare that some of these schools are going through. Where the hell does Stanford go? What's Stanford going to do? Or are they going to blend with the WAC or whatever and be a junior level non-power 5? What are they going to do?
I don't know, depending on the fine print of the college football playoffs, they could just stay there and be the best and get in.
Well, you're going to have to change that. You can't have a conference with like 4 or 5 teams and then give the winner. What are they going to play each other twice a year, every year? Like, I don't know what's going to happen, man, but it's wild. And I just need answers, damn it. It's all questions right now. I need answers. And a lot of them I'm not going to get for 5 more weeks after season even starts. I am not going to get the answer to my biggest questions against Navy, Tennessee State, NC State, or Central. I'm not. I'm going to get my questions answered against Ohio State.
Yeah, but even then, I still feel like not everything is answered.
Well, I'll get a lot of things answered because I know that is a program that has more talent than us overall. You want to debate the quarterback? Fine. Overall, they have more talent and more recent elite success than us. I'm going to see what I need to see.
Mm-hmm.
Can you get after that quarterback? Are you getting ran on? Can we throw the ball on them? I want to see all this.
Yeah, I'm hoping they bring their A game because I know the crowd's going to go bananas, and who knows, they might even rush the field again just because it's, such a rare thing to have these wins.
Yeah, man, this is just going to be it's going to be an interesting
I'm excited
year.
for the offense, so.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think we maybe get some, but it goes to, again, okay, man, stay healthy. Just
yeah.
All right, nobody touching these next couple of weeks. We got
yeah.
just do what you can. Then it's like, again, who's the next guy? Okay. Good luck.
It's going to be, I don't know, man. It's just going to be really interesting. We're reaching that crescendo point where the excitement of just getting into camp starting to wear off and people are ready to get real answers to real football questions. And it's a huge year for Freeman. It's a huge year for Hartman. There's just a lot on the line practically and perceptually this year. Way different than year one of Freeman just learning how to do all this. And I just can't wait to see how it's going to go. 9-3 wouldn't surprise me. 11-1 wouldn't surprise me. But what happens to make it tip one way or the other? That's what we got to wait and see.
We got to beat USC, maybe have some things on our fingernails.
I'm telling you, buddy, I do not even want to think about Marcus Freeman, a guy, I love his vibe. I love his personality. I love his work ethic. I love all of that. You don't get to start out 0-2 against USC and not have people ask you tough questions. I don't give a shit how much they pay you in Hollywood and all that. I don't care what they're doing. You don't get to start 0-2 against USC and Notre Dame and not have people ask tough questions. You got to figure out a way at home. I don't care if it's by 1 point. You got to figure that out at home.
Yep. We made them look like Tate Forcier. Google it.
Yeah.
But
I don't want to Google it.
Anyways,
nobody wants to Google that garbage, and I'm mad at you for making me remember it. You're making
ridiculous, like we're on Facebook.
Dude, I can't believe you did that. I have tried to block that Tate Forcier game out of my mind so long. I'm mad that you brought it back into my mind.
Use it for fuel, my friend. Use it for fuel.
Yeah, we could do it that way. Anything else on your mind, my friend? Thanks for giving me a call. Program the number. Call again.
Oh, yeah, I'll try to. Oh, yeah. Oh, I got a lot on my mind. Depends how long you want to go. But no, like I said, the offense, I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. I have a guy with some cojones to maybe whip it downfield or be willing to.
Yeah. How do you feel?
Quarterback himself.
How do you feel about that running back room? I think it could be a very exciting group. You're going to have Estime as like the engine to that train. And then I like what all the other guys could bring as well. I think they're in for a big year as a group.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm bummed about Diggs, but I understand because when the table's full, there's not much to eat. But
yeah.
But I'm excited. I'm excited to see if Love is as advertised or close to, or again once it's live and whatever. Once we finally see it, it's like, oh, okay, he is that fast. Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping he might be like an Edwards type guy. Maybe get a little thick with some speed.
There you go. I like that. T-Rex says, John, when you make a prediction, you need to commit to it. Big difference between 9-3 and 11-1. Well, then I'll pick 10-2 then. I'll split the difference. Like I'm trying to be realistic. Nobody can ever claim I'm just a blind Notre Dame fanboy. I've never done that on this show, picking Notre Dame to win every game because I want it to be. I've never been that guy picking Notre Dame with my heart. So I'll split the difference and go 10-2 in the middle then, and I'll hope it's better than what I think. There, I solved it.
Yep, I usually bet on my team, but I'm real enough to know to not do it.
Yeah, that's tough
Or
too. That's tough too. It's almost like you could know your team too much to where it doesn't help to know them that much to bet for them or against them. You could get turned around in your own head doing that when it's your home team. I get it.
Well, then it comes down to, again, do you want to win?
Yeah.
Is winning your thing? Okay.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
But yeah, I'm excited to see the offense function and the running game because I don't think Hartman has really had anything close to that. So that's like a Russell Wilson type thing. You get in with someone that can run, okay, or whoever, you get someone that Elway, once you got the running game, you got 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah. Yep. Nope. That's a good point. And I just love seeing Notre Dame, the idea that they could actually be balanced this year on offense and legitimately threaten defenses up and down the field, sideline to sideline with the run game and the pass game. That is a feature no Notre Dame offense has had for a very long time. And to me, the sky is the limit if you were able to operate that way and have a good functioning run game and be able to throw it around. Defenses are going to have to play Notre Dame straight up and fair in a way they have not had to defend us lately. The sky's the limit if you're able to do that, but I got to see that you're able to do it.
Yep. Once you hit that first, 40 plus, 45 yard plus, they go, oh, okay. Once they see it, once they feel it, but that's the thing. You got to do it. You got to, be willing to do it. We can't be that Stanford and only throw it once. Okay, it worked once. Why don't do it again?
Yeah.
It's the whole thing. Why are we doing it? If it worked, don't stop till they stop it.
Yeah.
It's the old cliche of, till you stop me, I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah. And so,
I'm excited.
I don't know, man. It's a big year. It's a big year. What do you think of the alternate unis, the greens and the blues they pulled out for Navy? You have any opinion on that?
Interesting. We can argue how dark or light we want the green.
I wanted it a little darker. That color green is not one of my favorites. Exactly. It's like kind of like ecto cooler green from my childhood. Like it's a little non-Notre Dame green for me, but I'm willing to deal with it for one game. But it's a little bit of a lighter green that I associate being Notre Dame green. But whatever, they're going to do what they're going to do.
I think more gold. I want some more gold, almost like those white jerseys we had with that gold. But instead of white, had to be green.
Yeah, I would have liked that too. But then again, if you're going to go out there and beat Ohio State, I don't care if you're wearing a hefty garbage bag at the end of the day. Just figure out a way to beat that team, and you can wear whatever you want. And it's going to be at night, and I'm sure they're going to look good in the light, the way it reflects. All that'll look good. Whatever, man. I need us to find a way to win that damn game.
That's what I'm hoping for too, and I think we can. And I'm hoping we can get enough courage or muster to do it with the next couple we'll need.
Yeah, it'll be
3 games.
It's going to be interesting, man. We're in for a wild year. Hey, man, I really appreciate you calling. I want you to save the number. Give me a call again. And then also, we're going live after every game I'm not at. So give me a call after those and let me know your thoughts right after the game.
Oh, yeah, definitely have to try to call in.
Yep. Dial it up, my friend.
Again, yeah.
Thanks for calling on a Monday.
Yep, shout out to the QC.
There you go.
The Moline Maroons for Winter State. Basketball, baby. Woo!
The Moline Maroons.
All right, thanks again, Tom. Stay alive, friend.
Have a good one. What is it? The Moroccan Maroons or something? What did he say? I don't know, but it's good to have somebody new calling in. Dr. John, at this point, why be realistic? 12-0. All right. Here's something I got to kind of say, and I think it should be pretty logically obvious. Think about it. In my position, running this channel and writing articles for USA Today Irish Wire, I cannot go into every year going 12-0, 12-0, 12-0. Why? Because I cover Notre Dame 12-0 every year. I can't do that. Like, you have no credibility. You're just a fanboy if you go into every year saying we're going to go 12-0 when there's no evidence that's realistic. If you're Alabama or Georgia, then I understand getting up there every year and going 12-0, 12-0. That's actually like in the ballpark. Notre Dame has not proven that. So I will lose credibility if I go 12-0, 12-0, 12-0, because I want it to be. Of course I want it to be. But it never is. That's the problem with Notre Dame. Everything we want to be never ends up being. John, why is it 12-0 realistic? I mean, I don't know. It's one of the hardest schedules we've had in a very, very long time, and Notre Dame hasn't even proven they could beat Marshall and Stanford. Why should I pick them to run the table? You got to prove it first. You got to prove it first. I want them to do that, but I cannot bank on something and give them that much credit without them earning it. So I don't know. What do I know, though? What do I know? All right, folks, that's going to be it. We've gone a full 2 hours. Looks like the stream is back working, and I appreciate that. At least I could see what you guys were saying, which is a good advantage. Everybody who donated, I appreciate it. Paul, Chief, Adam with the couple, Air Pro, Pat Cotter, always good with the dono. Paul Conley with his daily $5 holler. I really appreciate you guys. John, you got to put out some positive vibes. First time in my life ever, I actually approve of the head coach at Notre Dame and like what he's doing in my cognizant memory. Give me a break. It's about as positive as I get that I actually believe in the mission head coach has for once at Notre Dame. But they got to prove it. You got to prove it. I can't pick you to be elite till you give me a reason to. All right? I can't pick Notre Dame to be elite till they show me they deserve it. And that is as fair as I could be. All right, everybody, have a good Monday. What a good little way to end the show. Have a good one, everybody. Love ya.